Happenstance.
I actually really didn't want to do this topic today. I did try to bail and talk about Hallmark Christmas movies instead. But it's because whenever I think of Gremlins, I think of racism.
What?
Yeah. And I just wasn't, this is like white privilege, but I was like, I'm just not trying to engage with racism today.
See, you've seen Gremlins and I haven't seen Gremlins. And nowhere in my concept of what Gremlins is about did I think racism would be on the dartboard.
Is a heavy factor. I think it's the dartboard itself.
Is racism?
Yeah.
It's a racist dartboard?
I think Gremlins is a racist dartboard. Quote me on that. And I think that I've seen Gremlins, but it was like a long time ago as a little kid. And I think I enjoyed that viewing. And then I feel like 5 years ago or something, I read this think piece that was about Gremlins being racist. And that really stuck with me.
Never read a think piece of a childhood classic.
Never read.
Never think. Okay, but you liked Gremlins when you saw it.
As a child, I liked Gremlins.
Okay.
Gremlins is one of my favorite genres, horror comedy, which is like the rap and country of movies where I feel like people like everything except that, but I love it most.
People don't like horror comedies?
People hate horror comedies.
That's messed up.
It's because people don't get them. People aren't being sick and twisted enough to get them is my beef with anti-horror comedy people.
And like a racist horror comedy, that's a lot to work
That's
with.
a lot. Because
Yeah.
usually horror comedy is one of those genres where you're trying to like make a social statement that's positive. But this one's from the 80s and I think it's not.
Do you think it like made...
Did it make me racist? Is
I
that
was
your
trying
question?
not to ask my white co-host if she became racist upon watching Gremlins. But
No, I don't think I did. But I will say, I think originally I didn't notice it was racist. Hence, it's the water we swim in. It's the dartboard that Gremlins is. As usual, movies are a mirror to society. And, that includes Gremlins.
Gremlins are a
mirror to society.
Yeah, they clearly represent a lot.
Yeah.
Just like all little guys.
Yeah. What are little guys except for guys like ourselves?
Yeah. But they're inherently like other than ourselves too.
Yeah.
So you're inherently having to make a statement about people who are other. And that's challenging.
And that just, then jump racism.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Is Gremlins for kids?
Okay. I do know a little Gremlins history. I think also from that thought piece from 5 years ago. And I'm pretty sure Gremlins is PG, but it's a hard PG. It's from the time before. It's one of the movies that is the reason PG-13 exists.
Ooh.
Is because I think it's a hard PG and that there's like cussing, there's sexual lewdness, and there's like kind of graphic violence.
Okay. That's kind of what I pictured.
Yeah.
But then again, I thought that about Flubber. I thought Flubber was going to be...
No, totally. I feel like every other time we've talked about little guys, it's been like, are they being sexualized? What kind of problems are they causing? And these little guys...
are pantsing people.
Yeah. They're sexual of their own right. And they are causing problems.
And they should be allowed to do that, right?
I think they should. But, I'm saying that as someone who wants to be on the right side of history.
And the right side of little guys.
I do definitely want to be on the right side of little guy representation.
But I also think Gremlins are creatures.
Yeah.
Like more than the other little guys that we usually talk about are.
Wait, define a creature.
A creature's like just... okay, I think of like a creature as being more like a raccoon.
Like a mammal?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think a creature can be a mammal or something scaly, but I think it has ideally 4 legs. And I think a critter is like a raccoon.
Okay, well, I think gremlins are critters.
Gremlins are definitely critters. I think I imagine one in my mind, and the critter's like ding, 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 the label that comes up next to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think gremlins are like scrounging around in dumpsters and are causing mild problems in like abandoned lots.
Okay. So that's how you're seeing the gremlin.
Yeah.
The gremlin problem.
The gremlin
if I will.
Yes.
Yeah. Never good when you label an entire community a problem. That's all I'll say.
You already got me on my gremlin racism.
Just your gremlin like language use. What do they call rhetoric? Your just on your gremlin rhetoric.
I just don't know how the words that they like to use these days.
How do you talk about them? That's one of the problems with gremlins. How are you supposed to talk about them? What's appropriate? So wait, what is your background knowledge of gremlins? Do you have any?
Okay, my background knowledge is I feel like I've like skipped over Gremlins on like streaming channels and not watched it.
Okay.
So I know the basic premise of like Gremlins overrun a town and the rule is don't feed them after midnight, which doesn't seem that hard to follow.
They're hungry.
But like
they're persistent.
You don't have to feed anything.
When they eat, it's cute. Okay, but here's the thing. Gremlins are like in between a dog, a monkey, and a child. And imagine a dog monkey child like pulling at your pants and being like, I'm so hungry. Feed me. And it's like cute and you feel bad for it and it's annoying.
But if you already know that you're not supposed to feed it after midnight, I'd be like,
you're just going to put it in the closet under the stairs?
Yeah.
You're just going to lock it up and neglect it?
I'd neglect it. I'd put on some headphones and I'd go the fuck to bed.
I would give it a Benadryl.
Okay.
And I don't know what would happen. I don't know. I bet you'd give a gremlin a Benadryl, just fall asleep like anyone else.
Right. But what if that counts as nourishment to the gremlin?
I don't know what they run on. I have no idea. You know, let's see that sequel. Let's see that commercial, actually. Because that's what media is really about now, is like a classic property being turned into kind of a cheap commercial. And I want to see a commercial where a gremlin eats a Benadryl.
Yeah. Or like it's an ad for Ozempic and the gremlin doesn't even want to eat anymore.
The gremlin's so skinny.
Wait, that's a good ad. Because of Ozempic.
And they're so snatched.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. You should email Ozempic about that after this app.
Ozempic reps. Email us.
Also, come on the pod.
Also,
I would love to just talk to someone about Ozempic on the pod. I feel like I definitely have a whole happenstance of what your body goes through when you're on Ozempic.
That sounds delightful and possibly like we could get sued.
Good. We need to be doing more stuff that makes people legislate. What do they call it when
litigious?
We need to be making people feel litigious more on this podcast.
That's on our dartboard
for 2024. Next year, we're going to resolve for every listener to want to sue our asses.
But I don't want racism on our dartboard.
Yeah, and I don't want to make the comment. I was gonna say lawsuits about that don't work famously, but we gotta cut that.
No, let's keep it. You sound woke.
No, I don't. We have to cut it. I think in this one we have to like comment on racism, but like hedge a little. You know.
Okay.
I also think it's just cut this too, but I think it's a bad look for me whenever I like. It's good for white people to go off about racism, but I feel like people don't always like it when I do it. That's all I have to say.
But if it's just because of your voice or your face, then maybe you're safe in a
maybe
podcast
I'm safe.
format.
I don't know. I think I have one of the whiter voices of all time as well. In a myriad of ways. Okay. Wait, ask me about no, I guess I already said what I know about Gremlins. I don't remember how to do this. It's one of those days.
Is that all you know about Gremlins, is just that it's about racism?
No, I've definitely seen it before. I, funnily enough, thought I had a grip of what the main problem is, but what I think the main thing about Gremlins is slightly different than what you think it is.
Well, I haven't seen it. I've just read the like one sentence summary on like Netflix or whatever.
But that feels more accurate than me searching the back channels of my mind. You know what I mean? Well, but we can get to that. We can get to that when I need to say my piece. I'm excited
to know what the hell you think is happening in Gremlins, because I feel like it's so obvious to me.
I think. Okay, so I thought the premise of Gremlins is that you just can't ever give them water.
What?
And I thought if you gave them any water at all, that's when they act up. And that's why I said drinking makes me act up.
Oh my God. Mm-hmm. That's like the Shyamalan movie Signs, where the aliens are allergic to water.
They can't have water, but that just kills them.
Yeah. One of the best movies ever. Everyone
One of the best movies ever. And
ever.
Christian, so technically it's seasonal. It's a Christmas movie.
His movies are so Christian.
He loves the Lord.
You were saying something earlier about Harry Potter, and I think you should repeat it.
I should repeat it right now that we're recording? Yes. Okay, well, wait. First of all, way to out me is just walking around my house saying stuff about Harry Potter.
One of your favorite topics.
On a regular
You're
afternoon.
You're muttering about it under your breath, too.
I'm the Hogwarts school shooter. That's kind of my vibe. I think it's weird Harry Potter makes such a big deal out of Christmas, because they're like all wizards and stuff, but that implies that they believe in Christianity. Or maybe they just like the effects. You know, I guess there's pagan winter holidays.
I think they just have like a really giant room that they love to decorate. Because they're celebrating like Valentine's Day that hard and like or Halloween.
And I guess ultimately I believe in decorating the spaces you have available to you more than I believe in most other things.
And
so I'm on board.
Another thing is, English food is really gross.
Yeah.
Except their holiday stuff's a little interesting.
A little interesting doesn't sound like good enough motivation to really go all out for me in a dish, but okay.
They got like those giant puddings.
Yeah, figgy pudding.
And the other thing is, they aren't doing any of the work because they have house elves. If I had house elves, I'd be celebrating every holiday.
You'd be having Christmas all out.
Yeah.
Poor house elves.
They love it.
They love it. That's famously how people have been excusing racism forever.
And that's what Gremlins is about, allegedly.
Allegedly. Maybe. We'll see. Do you know anything about the cast of Gremlins?
No.
Or like the main characters, I guess?
Okay, I just think every movie from like, I think it's from the 80s. I guess I don't even know that.
It is from the 80s.
Okay. I feel like they all star like a Stranger Things like group of kids.
Okay.
And a family. But like they're all like neglecting their children.
That's very Goonies style.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this one, that Gremlins is weird because Gremlins mostly stars a heterosexual teen couple.
Interesting.
And we're not seeing that like little grouping go on adventures and deal with problems.
Usually I feel like they're in it, but then one of them gets like taken or maimed or killed.
And we're really worried about like a group of middle schoolers. Yes. But I think this one isn't like that. And I don't think there's anyone famous in it either.
And nobody, that was not their breakout moment, was Gremlins.
No, there's a guy, the guy who's the number one, like the lead of Gremlins, got to be on those VH1 I Love the 80s type shows in the 2000s, but like that's it. And he also looks like a bunch of other like 20-year-old brown hair guys, but you know, he's not jumping off the screen at you. But like he's doing good in Gremlins, but he's not a star.
I feel like the star of Gremlins should be like kind of weird looking too.
I think he's only as weird looking as like all people on TV were in the 80s compared to now because they don't have plastic surgery. Like I feel like I think about this kid and he has like tight curly hair, and like flared nostrils.
That could be anyone, but what a type.
Yeah. I think the flared nostrils are important in a horror comedy movie because flaring your nostrils is automatically funny and it expresses like fear. And
just emotions in general.
Yeah.
It's quite a look.
If you can bring your nose into your feelings, then maybe you are a good actor.
I also
just
think
look like that.
I think it's just better if like horror comedy movies star someone who isn't like so hot, because those are the ones that get like killed / punished for being hot in like horror movies.
I think this kid is kind of getting punished for that, but who's to say? You know what? I think it's fine to be medium hot and be medium punished for that. That feels like it lines up right. Yeah.
That's actually part of our It's Sometimes You're Ugly campaign.
Is that we should punish really hot people as
and
well.
Medium punish medium
hot people. Hot people and like we said, ugliness is fluid. Anyone can be hot, but on the days you're hot, you need to pay a tax where you donate to the people who are ugly.
Are ugly.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you get to pull from that fund.
Exactly, like Medicare.
Yeah. We're just paying it forward to ourselves when we're ugly.
And that's what government should really be about.
That's the only kind of regulation we really need.
Really. All that being said, do you want to get into it? Do you want to go first since supposedly you know less about this than me?
Okay, sure. All right, here's my stance. Okay. I think it stars a kind of weird teen boy who doesn't really have friends. And I'm gonna call him Ricky.
Okay, fun name.
Yeah, and I feel like that's very 80s to me. And he's like neglected by his family, kind of, because like he has like grumpy parents who are never home. And when they are home, like his dad's obsessed with like working on his ham radio or something, and his mom's obsessed with like foot soaks and stuff.
I feel like that's like the kid in A Christmas Story, except the dad's just obsessed with the like sexy leg lamp.
And that's going to be on the dartboard of this dad, too.
Okay, he's going to feel sexual towards furniture.
He's just going to love the holidays.
I guess you could say that's what that man's feelings towards that lamp are about. Yeah. That was a gift given to him by... Who gave him that lamp? Was it someone in his family?
Whoever did that should be punished for that, I think. That's absurd.
My happenstance on who's allowed to give you a sexual leg lamp is I think it has to only be your like dirty old man best friend.
Or I think you can give it to your mistress.
Would you want that if you were a mistress?
Yeah.
What if it's a better leg than yours?
I feel like he has to be like, this reminded me of your beautiful, shapely legs.
That would make me feel scared as a mistress.
And he's going to chop
them off and make a lamp for the next one. Yeah. Maybe it's the last woman's leg.
Well, I'd be happy because, like, you know when men get the same necklace for their wife and mistress?
Yeah.
I'd be like, he's not getting this for his wife. This is a special me present.
Doesn't guess how many legs people have?
2.
2. I think the one lamp implies the existence of a second lamp.
That blew my fucking mind.
Yeah. And then you put the lamps together, and where the shades touch is where the vagina would be.
I would leave each of the 2 lamps on like a different person's doorstep and then hope that they find each other one day.
I think if you left 2 sexy LED lamps on 2 sexy doorsteps on 2 separate doorsteps, that would only create problems. Like, actually, I think I'm not seeing a sexy leg lamp enough, but I think this movie made it okay in society for you to have one. But if I opened my door and just found one, I would feel strange. And if I was like a 1980s wife and I opened my door and I saw one left one for, I assume, my husband, I would be mad.
I think what I would do is leave 2 outside 2 doorsteps. It doesn't have to be sexy people. I don't need to know them at all.
Yeah.
And then I'd leave a mannequin with 2 legs missing, like in a field somewhere, and just see what happens.
That kind of feels like a community, like, art performance, sort of. And then maybe you document what happens next if you keep the newspaper clippings, if anything comes of it.
But I think I don't know what else odd stuff I do, but I do a few things and then see if the supernatural boys show up.
That's the dream. All we've been doing lately is watching Supernatural. That's a confession.
Yeah.
Talking about Harry Potter and watching Supernatural.
That's the holidays.
That's the holidays. The holidays are for letting your inner SuperWhoLock come out.
Finally.
If you don't know what a SuperWhoLock is, stop listening to this podcast.
This is not for you.
This is not for you. You're not our friends or family.
Where were we even?
I have no idea. The sexy leg lamp.
The parents of my boy Ricky.
Okay, yeah, Ricky's parents. The dad's ham radio, a famously hilariously named device.
Does it stand for something? Is it like?
I have no idea. I think the amount of time I've thought about a ham radio is like 15 seconds because I'm a modern woman. Usually when something has an acronym, I feel like it jumps, like if I can't do it in the next 10 seconds, I'm like, it's a bad acronym.
It's definitely a bad acronym. Don't get me wrong.
Hailing all men radio. I think that's the vibe of a ham radio.
Maybe we should get ham radios to get married.
What do you mean to get married?
They'll bring it's like the milkshakes. Bring all the boys to
the
the
yard. You're saying that was a very one-to-one like jump.
Yeah, hailing all men.
Hailing all men, and that's for matrimony only.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. It's Christmas. Famous time to think about getting married and hailing all men. That's what Hallmark movies are about. That's what the season's about in modern times.
Hallmark movies, they're never looking for a man.
Or sometimes they're leaving the one they're engaged to who loves his company too much. But they're showing up. And I think you're right. They'd show up quicker if they had a ham radio.
But then they're going to be really into ham radios.
And like old. I think they're going to be
worse,
truckers.
Like young and really into ham radios.
That's a weird guy too.
Yeah.
All right. So just maybe that's a bad plan.
It's a plan.
It's a plan.
It's a plan. Maybe just try everything once.
It's good to have ideas. That's for sure. That's what podcasting is really about, is illuminating that sometimes if you have an idea, you should just say it. And record it and force other people to listen to it. Or just, it's like, they can hear it if they want. We're just putting it out there. We're not making anyone, take it in.
So Ricky also has a sister.
Yeah.
Who I named Jocelyn.
Okay, kid sister or like hot sister?
Hot sister.
I love when a movie has a hot sister.
Yeah.
A hot sister is for the girls and the gays. Someone to like connect with and root for.
But then also does get punished the most for being
She's so hot.
Sister. Yeah.
But I bet she'll act the hell out of that. Okay.
Oh, yeah. She has like big teased out hair.
Yeah.
And won't give him time of day, obviously. And then I think Ricky gets really nervous around Christmas because his dad is obsessed with winning the neighborhood like house decoration contest.
This is a lot of texture.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's
also just getting nervous around Christmas. You could have just stopped there and I would have been like, yep, that checks out.
He never sees his family for better and for worse, and now he's gonna have to see him all the time, and worse, like help his dad put up lights, and it's just gonna be a bad time.
That's an interesting like dichotomy, is you either never see your family and then at Christmas
Yeah.
They're just jamming themselves down your throat, kind of.
Exactly.
It's such a family holiday.
But then also getting mad at you because everyone's tempers are up during the holidays.
Does he like that it brings them together or just no?
No, because like he just doesn't vibe with them like that, and he doesn't have any friends, and like that's when they start being like, Ricky, why don't you bring any friends over? And like
Good
just
question.
being too much in his business.
Wait, is something wrong with Ricky?
He's just a weird little kid.
Like in a creepy way, or
No, but he does have a friend who I think is weird in a creepy way, named Todd, and that's his only friend. As in like they both sit at the like loser lunch table together.
okay, so he's a loser.
Yeah,
Capital
yeah,
L.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is a very 80s movie thing to be. It's
Exactly.
just a loser. Okay.
And I think his friend Todd really likes collecting frogs and other
So he's the
creatures.
creepy one.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
But is his only friend, so like, you know, Todd's got his back one way or the other.
I also think there's some sort of friendship balance in like one being lame and the other one being creepy.
Yeah.
That feels like it works out.
But then that means they're both creepy.
You think creepy like kind of overtakes the relationship and wins?
Kind of. I think even people who could be like potential friends are being like, oh, Ricky, you're friend with that Todd's kid.
He's
huh?"
creepy.
Yeah, he's creepy.
People hate creeps.
Yeah. But then Ricky's kind of like, yeah, I am friends with Todd. Like, I think he's a good friend in that way where he's like, he won't save his social status by not being friends with Todd.
Okay. I'm going to make a crazy pitch and say he should just not be friends with Todd for his own reasons.
I think Todd is going to come out looking like a hero.
in this one. All right. Let's get into it. Let's break it down.
Okay, so I think they another detail. They have a family dog, but that just like hates Ricky, kind of. Like it likes everyone except Ricky.
That's funny. What breed of dog is it? Have you given that any thought?
Maybe like a what's like a Cocker Spaniel.
A small dog. That's
Yes.
even funny for your small dog to hate you, because that
Yeah.
just feels hurtful, not scary.
And it loves the sister. And
Naturally.
maybe it's like the sister's dog.
They brush
kind
each
of.
other's hair.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So then I think Ricky finds a gremlin like rounding around in the trash can.
Okay. You think they're famously a trash species?
Yeah.
He just finds one in the dumpster. Where do you think he lives?
Suburbs of like Ohio or something.
Okay.
Like kind of nice suburbs, but like depressing too.
Okay. Boring.
Boring.
That's why you need some
suburbs.
gremlins to come through and shake it up.
Right.
Okay.
And he just thinks it's a raccoon. Maybe he's home alone because everyone else is
that
cooler
he
than him.
thinks it's a raccoon. He like hears it and thinks it's a raccoon, or he sees
No,
it and
he
is like,
hears
"That's a
it.
raccoon."
He hears it and thinks it's a raccoon, but then goes outside and it's a little gremlin.
Cute.
And I think the gremlin kind of like likes him immediately, but like no one else likes him, so he's like, "Aw, it likes me." And then
he likes it back.
Yeah, he
that
likes it back.
famously happens to me all too often. Okay.
that was not about anyone currently listening to this.
We're editing this
podcast.
out. Anyway, next.
So he sees the gremlin and it like comes out of the trash holding like an empty Pringles can or something.
Mhm.
And then he's like,
Product placement.
yes.
Yeah.
And I think Pringles would be a great one to get for this
Yum.
movie.
When did Pringles get invented?
I looked this up for the purpose of this.
Okay, research.
I think they patented it in like the 60s, but then it became a product in like the 70s.
Took a while.
Mm-hmm. The R&D on this one.
It's a perfectly shaped chip.
It's also like it was to counteract customer complaints about like regular potato chips that they're like greasy and not dry enough, I guess. Not dry and powdery enough.
That's what people wanted. I think a Pringle is damn near perfect.
Right. And it's good to have that option too, I think.
I agree. I also believe chips probably were greasier in the 60s.
Probably. Because they didn't like spin them through the machines or whatever.
Enough. Well, I don't know how they're making. One thing about me, I don't know how chips made at all. And I want to keep it that way.
Oh, you don't want to do a happenstance on
How a chip is made? No. I want to be able to enjoy them without knowing about their suffering.
So I think Ricky brings the gremlin home and gives it like a new fresh pack of Pringles, thereby winning its love and adoration forever.
I do love when a little guy in a movie loves like one thing like Pringles.
Yeah.
I think that's common.
My other idea was jelly beans.
Don't the minions like cats like that?
Ew, they like eating cats?
Oh, they just liked cats.
Oh, they like bananas. Remember they also
Bananas. Okay, I was thinking of Alf, another famous 80s creature who is a puppet alien who does eat cats. That's how you know the 80s PG was hard.
Mm-hmm. Or people just didn't care about cats back then.
Both probably true. It was just hard. People care about cats now too much. I'll say it.
I think
people are trying to make cats a personal brand, and I'm so against that.
But I think back then it's kind of funny to like if an alien like eats a cat. But now when we think of dead cats, we think of like serial killers, like dark triad, like kids killing cats.
Yeah, I hate that.
Because they're evil.
I hate knowing about that.
Yeah.
I also feel like I don't want any kind of cute little animal to suffer. But I also just don't want... I just don't want guys on dating profiles to be like so cat forward. I think that's what I'm really saying.
Yeah.
I feel like when a guy's like, I have my 2 fur babies and they're cats, that's just very off-putting to me.
And all their pictures are just them and their cat.
And they're cats.
But it's also them.
Go
like,
outside.
It's always them like shirtless, like curled up in bed with their
They're
cat.
cuddling it like it's like they're breastfeeding it.
Yeah.
That just is off-putting to me.
Or like their face is like under the cat's body.
And cats famously smell weird.
And carry disease. Cats carry disease.
Okay, but like so does everyone.
That's true.
I'm being a defender of those with feline aids. Like I like do like cats. I just don't like people objectifying cats and trying to make that their personality.
But I also wouldn't drape a cat over my face.
Sometimes cats just put themselves there.
But I wouldn't immediately take a selfie.
Upload they love it and say, "This is how I'm going to get mad, bitches." That's what they're doing.
And maybe it works.
Maybe. But famously, I lean dog. I like cats, but I just lean dog. It's what I'm comfortable with. It's what I grew up with.
But then also when everyone's profile pics are just them and their dog, that's also bad.
Oh, see, I'm not opposed because I'm a dog person to where I'm like, oh, like that one just works on me, pure form. I think I am like part of the like cats versus dogs binary, I guess.
Maybe there's like an audience out there who loves when a guy has a picture with a fish. Like when they...
Look! I keep saying look on this episode because I feel like I'm saying crazy things, but I don't mind it.
You don't mind when they're dangling a fish?
I think if a guy caught a fish, that's a little accomplishment, you know? That's a little good for him. I'd want to document it if I caught a fish.
I feel like you should be on Farmers Only.
I don't even... who's that going to bring me in LA? No one. But look,
or maybe the love of your life.
I feel like if you caught a fish, I would take a picture if I caught a fish. That's all I'm saying. If I ever catch a fish, y'all are all going to know about it because I'm going to take and post a picture of the moment. That's all I have to say. To me, that feels natural. That just feels like a natural impulse.
I guess then you're basically a grizzly bear.
Yeah! One of the top revered animals.
You're an apex predator, like a grizzly bear.
When you catch a fish. And it's at the same time that you're like being kind of cute, you're being silly. Throwback style. I hope they eat it, you know, but you can also catch and release.
You can catch and release.
That's even funnier to just take a picture with the fish to capture one moment in time with your fish and then put it back where it belongs.
I guess that is the same as taking a photo with a celebrity, but you actually did something.
Yeah. Also, I feel like all the people who are against caught a fish and took a pic guy are playing like Pokemon Go.
And they want the guy with the cat pic. That's the dichotomy, is the fish guy and the cat guy.
When I think if I saw a cat guy, but he had a fish pic, it might save it for me.
Because, you know, that cat can do one thing real good probably is catch a fish. And if you're a worse predator than your own cat, that's pretty bad.
That's pretty bad. I think we've made it so cats can't even catch a fish anymore. I also don't know if cats ever can catch a fish because I feel like they don't like water, but I feel like the cats
that are to survive.
I think the cats that are in dating profile pics can't do much.
Like the guys
in the dating profile pics with the cats. But I do think maybe they can like make vegan cookies, which I support that as well. Basically, there's just traits out there I like and traits I don't like.
This is just about Sam's personal preferences. Everyone take notes.
Text me if you would take a picture of the fish and you love your cat normal, or if you have a dog.
Text us or email us
at happenstancewithjoeandsam@gmail.com.
This is basically us with a ham radio right now.
Cool. My brain today is empty. And I think I have a good vibe. Like, I think I'm in a good mood, but it's not translating to talking very well. I think what I'm coming to the pod with today.
That's also what the holidays should be about. It's just being in a
quietly
good mood
pleasant.
Yeah. Everyone's just like knitting.
I feel well suited to that kind of activity.
Listening to Christmas music. I wish we were listening to Mariah Carey right now.
And just smiling and being quiet. Me too. Sipping a cocoa. Feeling the warmth in my hands.
Sounds nice.
Sounds nice. But instead, we're doing a damn podcast. And we're in the middle of your plot. Somehow. Maybe we're in the middle. I think we keep getting diverted real quick.
We're in the middle.
Okay.
So the gremlin is being fed and is now his friend / ally.
Okay. What time did he eat the Pringles? A normal, healthy dinner time?
Yeah. This is just like at 7 or 8 p.m.
Okay.
Style.
Still a little European, but not out of hand. Okay.
Oh, yeah. 8 p.m. is a late dinner, I guess.
For a child. And for a creature.
I think Ricky's like 14 and I think his parents are not home. And he's supposed to heat up like a piece of lasagna or something.
That makes sense. Or his sister's probably supposed to heat up lasagna. And then she didn't because she's calling boys on the phone and painting her toenails.
Exactly.
And he's like, what's the sister's name? Did you name Becky?
Jocelyn.
Jocelyn, you already named her. He's like, Jocelyn, where's my goddamn lasagna?
And she's like, shut up. You
shut the hell up.
Shut the heck up, you stupid little fuck.
I don't know if they can say fuck, but I think she can probably at least call him like a dumbass or something.
Or like a turd butt or something.
It's a hard PG. I think they can say turd ass even. Shit ass.
Shit
Maybe
ass.
she can say you. That feels like an 80s movie to me. Is like, shut up, you shit ass. When your little brother asks you to make lasagna. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then so then he feeds the gremlin. I'm not sure if he already like sees a second gremlin that same day, but he knows there's at least one.
Okay.
And then he goes to school and he's like, Todd, get a load of this. And then tells him.
Just got it in his backpack?
No, he just tells him all about it.
Okay.
And then Todd, I can't decide if either Todd like knows all about gremlins already because he's just a weird guy, or his parents, which I think would be fun if Todd's parents were like so weird and like old, and maybe they were alive like the last time the gremlins overran the town.
Oh, you think it's like an it thing where like every 20 years
or just
the
like
town's scourged by gremlins?
Sometimes they get out.
How big of a problem do you think gremlins are?
I think. Okay, not to talk about Harry Potter again, but like, you know, in like the second movie when like Gilderoy Lockhart lets out like all those pixies and they like fuck shit up.
Okay.
They hang Neville Longbottom from a chandelier.
Yeah.
It's like that. Like,
okay. Do you think the law needs to be involved?
I don't think the law could do anything against these guys.
Okay, I think they can't either, but I think the gremlins are actually like a National Guard level problem. Like they're calling in the state police to deal with the gremlins. They have like
a main line to the president
about the gremlins. No, they're like a real problem. Okay.
I think it's maybe one of those things that like everyone who is there and remembers it is like, that was a dark time in this town's history.
I see.
But like nobody's like really taking it seriously because when you explain the problem to people, it's just like, okay,
it seems
just
silly.
Like little critters getting out.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
But the parents are like, they're taking it serious, but they're also like crazy vibes. And I think they have like Professor Trelawney glasses where like their eyes are gigantic.
The creepy kid's parents.
Yes.
The creepy kid has like nerd creepy parents.
Yes.
Okay.
Who are also like too old, I think.
Okay. And famously, I do think being the single child of older parents can make you weird.
Yeah. No, totally. But honestly, it's convenient that he's friends with Todd because Todd does know about shit like this.
Yeah. You need a guy like that in your team. Yeah.
And I think Todd and his parents are both like, don't fuck with the gremlins, like just don't interact with them. And also the rule of like don't feed them after midnight. Like I think
they know that too.
Yeah, and they tell him that, but he's kind of being like, okay, whatever.
Well, that's like when someone tries to tell you like with a bee, like leave, it won't hurt you, don't bother it and it won't bother you. Yeah,
but also like he's just a little sweet gremlin, like he loves that thing and like,
he wants to hang out with it. Yeah, it's cute. I hear that.
And he's being like, okay, after midnight, whatever. Like the same way I was at the beginning where I'm like, that doesn't seem like a problem. Like, why would I ever feed it after midnight?
Yeah. I'm in bed. He's asleep.
Exactly.
He's 14.
Yeah. Or like they didn't even have video games back then. Like what would he?
They barely did. They had Atari.
Okay.
He could play a video game.
I feel like he's like shining his flashlight at the window and doing like Morse code or whatever.
That's
like
a good activity too.
Yeah. That's all he's up to at night. But okay, so then kind of like this happens for like a few days. It's like almost Christmas. I think now like school is out. And then one day, okay, I don't really know how this happens. My only pitch is that like he's with his like number one gremlin buddy and he's like playing like throwing jelly beans at it into its mouth and trying to make it catch it.
Cute.
But then he just doesn't see the time and then he throws a jelly bean at it.
He's having so much fun. It's 12:01.
12:01.
And he hits him with that jelly bean.
And then suddenly all hell breaks loose. Like its eyes like glow red. And I think it's going to be revealed that there were gremlins like living in the walls the whole time, like rats in the winter.
Okay.
And like they all come out. And I think that night Jocelyn's having like a sleepover.
Fun.
With all her girlfriends in her room. And I think maybe the whole reason Ricky was even outside playing with the gremlin is because he got like kicked out of the house because she was like, I'm with my friends, get
you
out.
Shit ass.
Get out, you creep.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, exactly. So then I think the gremlins like really give the girls a hard time. Like they're like throwing nail polish at the wall and like pulling people's hair and shit. And then I think the mom's like soaking in the tub and she gets tortured as well.
How tortured?
I think it's like I don't know. They probably like turn the faucet on too high.
Yeah, I think in my memory, the Gremlins, after they get whatever triggers them, are doing stuff like dropping the hairdryer in the bathtub. They're a problem.
They're like committing violence against her.
Yeah. They're fucking people up.
But then like Ricky, I think he runs to find Todd, obviously. And he's like, Todd, I fucked up. And the Gremlins are like kind of after him, but they're more interested in like, now they're out.
Yeah,
like,
they're doing their thing. They're free.
Yeah, wait, I wrote down some things they could be doing.
Okay,
they're fucking up some carolers.
Oh, yes. Seasonal.
Yes, and then there's a town Christmas tree. And I think, you know what? Maybe they like set fire to it.
Okay.
And then, this is my crack pitch is that Santa lands on a roof and then they fuck him up.
Okay.
They like jump Santa and they steal his shit.
And then Santa's dead.
Yeah.
That's like the Gremlins killing God, basically.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. I think that's more up their alley than PG, like modern PG crimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think Todd gets all his like frog catching equipment, like his net.
A net.
Yeah.
I don't even know what other frog catching equipment is besides just a good old net.
I do want him to put them in like little jars, but like there's so many.
Do you think the frogs are that small, or do you think the Gremlins are that small? How big do you think a gremlin is?
I think a gremlin is like the height of this can of White Claw that I'm holding in my hand.
You're envisioning like a teacup gremlin.
Yeah, are they
They're
bigger?
not. They're a problem.
I have been imagining them small, like at most Chihuahua. I feel like you could kick a gremlin across a room.
You can try.
Well, anyway, they somehow like they start trying to fight him, but it's like not enough. And then he like tries to ask the parents what to do. And honestly, I don't want to think of like a whole reason as to how he stops them.
Yeah.
So I think what he does is he tries to find like the first gremlin, like the one that he fed the jelly bean.
Okay.
And I don't know how he does that, but then he like makes it throw up.
And that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Problem solved.
I like the idea of it ending with all the gremlins around town just doing a quick little barf.
Yeah.
And then that's a new problem, but it's a lesser problem than them like tearing up the town.
Yeah. But then everyone's like mad at Ricky and like hates him forever. But then I think as an apology, he like stays up all night and like fixes all the Christmas lights or something.
In town. Wholesome.
Yeah. And then I think it ends with like glowing gremlin eyes in a bush because it's not.
Because one didn't barf.
They'll be back.
They'll be back. Well, I mean, famously there is Gremlins 2 and maybe 3. Okay.
And that's all I got.
I think it makes sense based on that stance that you didn't think we're dealing with racism.
Well, no, I did not, and I forgot that already.
Yeah,
I know
it's
you said
shocking.
that at the top, but I still forgot that.
Yeah, it's hard
That
PG.
shocked me all over again. Wow. Okay.
Okay, so before I get into mine, I guess my first question is, what racism against who do you think is in Gremlins?
Oh my god. Okay, when you first said the racism thing, my mind went to like sundown towns because it's about like night and day. So I guess black people, but now I'm like not so sure because you're framing it like that.
It's actually racist against black people and I think Asians. What I kind of think happens in Gremlins to just tee off the racist surprise is there's this like 16, 17-year-old boy with a girlfriend. They hang out all the time. And I think he's got a kid brother. And it's like the night before, like 2 days before Christmas. And he didn't get his little kid brother a gift. And so last minute, late at night, he goes to town and it's like a snow-covered town. The only store that's open is like the Asian grocery store. It's like the Chinese grocery store.
Okay.
So he's like
a general store vibe.
Yes. And he's like a little white boy in a puffer vest. And he's kicking around the shop and he's like, doesn't see anything he likes, but then he sees the gremlin.
Oh, like a little pet.
Yes. Like the way you used to could buy sugar gliders at the mall. And so he doesn't know what to get his brother, but he sees the little cute guy and he's like, this is so cute. And so then he asks the guy who owns the shop, and the guy who owns the shop is like, that's not for you. And he's white and entitled.
That's like their store gremlin.
No, he's like, other people maybe could buy that, but you can't buy that, is kind of the situation.
That's a pretty bad tactic if you want someone to not want to buy something. Don't be like, I'll sell it to anyone except you.
I think it's like, he's not going to get, it's more like, that's not for just anybody.
Oh.
Is the situation with the gremlin.
That kind of sounds like he's upselling it.
I think it does kind of sound like that. I don't know what that guy's motives are.
I am going to say, I feel like you should have to pass a background check to buy a gremlin.
That's what I feel like the guy's implying. But basically, he tells the kid that he can't have the gremlin and then like gets distracted and the kid takes the gremlin.
Oh.
The kid gets the gremlin through illicit means. And as he's leaving,
so
we clearly
have
see
to get punished.
like some like paperwork near the gremlin that's mostly written in Chinese but has clear illustrations that in my mind are like, don't give it water.
Okay.
And then he buys the gremlin, and gremlins are from the Chinese grocery store. But then here's how it's racist. Culturally, gremlins are like black.
What does culturally mean?
Like black in a racist way too. They're being presented as like gremlins have like a gold chain. Like gremlins are gangster. And I think they speak a mix of like in English, but I think it's kind of AAVE.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think they just didn't know enough about Asians to just make them racistly Asian? Or did
maybe.
they just want to explore both possibilities?
It's a complex racial narrative that gremlins are Blasian.
Or they're like Aquafina, where they're just Asian but
appropriating black culture. They're a problem in the town. And maybe it's woke in the town if the gremlins are like Aquafina culturally. But
wow.
Basically, in my memory, the gremlins are like, after they get the water, they're like Scarface. So you could also say it's like in Scarface where we bring the Cubans into the like camp in America.
Anti-immigration.
It is. It's like, yeah. And so then they get here and then they kind of go full like Tony Montana.
So they're at the very least a street gang.
Yes. I think the kid gets the gremlin from the store.
Okay.
And the gremlin's very cute. And he gives it to his brother and they're both loving it. And then I think he gives it like the water / the food after midnight. And that one night, the one gremlin turns. And when they turn, they go from looking like little Furby creatures to being like green and scaly, and they're taller. Oh. Do you know in the 2004 Scooby-Doo movie, how Scooby-Doo looks when he like gets mutant scary?
Yeah.
They're like that.
Also, it's like Space Jam.
Yeah, it's like that. They turn.
Yeah.
They're different. You think they're cute, so you invite them into your home, you invite them in your community. And then once they get comfortable...
I'm seeing what's happening here.
But anyway, so they get the one gremlin. This gremlin's cute, but then they do the thing that's bad, and it only lasts like over the course of like a night or something. And they realize like that gremlin causes problems like in their like shared room or whatever. Like he messes up all their toys. He does something bad. They have to go catch him, but then they wake up the next day and he's back to like little curled up.
Whoa.
But the thing that happens is after you feed them, they asexually multiply. So they start with the one gremlin, which is manageable, and they're like, oh, we learned our lesson. But then he wakes up the next day and there's like 6 of them. And famously, there should not be that many little guys.
No.
One's okay. Six is verging on a problem. And once there's 6 of them, they can't control them, so they can go feed themselves / water themselves.
Oh.
So they're...
I thought it was like...
It's anarchy.
I only want to talk about Harry Potter, and I thought it was like house elves where you have to like give them clothes to set them free. But like, are they like budding off of each other? Do we see that?
I don't know. I think they just wake up and they're all kind of sleeping like a little ball that's cute, and I feel like they turn around and you see they got the face and the big ears. So then what happens is basically like they get out of hand, and I don't know if this is true, but what I want to see, what I'm happenstancing, is the teens are like, whatever, it's not even a problem that the gremlins do that and got out, and they go to like a house party, and then I think the gremlins come and like ravage the house party.
So this happens over like days.
Yeah.
But also like, so if it was a huge problem, then you'd think it would come to a head sooner.
Well, they keep multiplying.
Okay.
So naturally it's going to take a couple of days for them to hit like full like fucking up the town.
It's also
havoc.
just like how rabbits work, actually.
Yeah. And like
rats.
they're a successful creature, like as far as like propagating. They also famously are anti-technology.
Oh.
And I think they do stuff like chew up the wires of like an old-timey like computer, and like chew up the wires of like the kitchen stuff, so there's a house fire. There's definitely a fire in this, and I don't remember if it's in the store or a house, but like a big fire, like the kids walking through smoke and like and the gremlins are popping up. I
do think having that many gremlins around would just like naturally mess with your Wi-Fi too.
I think, in my version where gremlins don't like absolutely cannot drink water and are anti-tech, I feel like they're like set to inherit the earth. They're going to outlive us all in the water wars. I
would like to know how this Asian guy just got like one gremlin in a cage, He's mysterious. That's the thing about in an old-timey movie, and honestly today, if there's an older Asian guy, he's going to be mysterious. He's going to have a little mystery about him. Where was I? Oh yeah. So I think the gremlins are physically violent, and like it gets to the point where the kid has to like go get like the rifle out of the shed and like shoot him in the head and stuff. So is this still just like a kid problem, or the adults getting
No, it goes from being like, I think it goes like kid and his brother and the girlfriend to teen party to the whole town. And the gremlins are doing stuff like the police get out and the gremlins are like setting fire to cop cars.
Hell yeah.
Like gremlins. The gremlins? Yeah. No, the gremlins are gangster and they're fucking people up. I think they're pulling hair out. I think they chew on people. I don't know if they fully eat them, but they at least chew on them. And I think one detail I kind of remember as a kid is I think the older brother's girlfriend has like, because it's a hard PG, like an abusive dad or something. And I feel like the Gremlins go to her house and neutralize the dad.
Okay, so they're doing some good for the community.
I think they are. I think like there's some wins.
But okay, is it Christmassy?
Yes, because like I think that's kind of the funny part is the Gremlin's supposed to be a last minute Christmas present,
right?
Which that's like 80s humor to be like, oh, those last minute Christmas gifts.
That's the real.
You put it off too long. So then it becomes a full like town problem, and they're like, I think you see like the town stores at the beginning where the kid goes to buy the Gremlin, and it's like people are caroling. There's lights everywhere. It looks super Christmas, and then the Gremlins are tearing all that shit up. The Gremlins are not reverent about the birth of Jesus Christ.
Well, also just thematically, last minute Christmas presents are against what Christmas stands for.
That's immoral.
Yeah.
To give your baby brother you love a last minute gift.
Yeah, you might as well shoot Santa between the eyes.
Yeah. And Gremlins are doing stuff like, I don't know if they have genitals, but I feel like one's wearing a trench coat and like flashing a lady at the mall.
That's fine.
And I think they're also doing stuff like pretending to be a toy, and this one tries to reach for him and they're biting
their boob.
Maybe.
Okay. That's kind of how toddlers are, though.
Yeah, they really are. And people laugh. People think that's cute.
Yeah.
But it's because they can't raise an entire town and the Gremlins can. So then, I don't know how this happens, but I think it ends like the brother knows he has to go back to the store to find the mysterious Asian guy and be like, what's up with this? What the hell? And in mine, where I thought the problem was they drink water, I was like, what could the solution possibly be to that? So the only solution I came up with is that he has to go back to the store and buy a bunch of this special kind of biscuit and then feed him this specific biscuit, and then they go back to cute Gremlins. And I thought that was good retribution. Like, if the Chinese grocery store guy gets to move a lot of product to this kid who stole the Gremlin and caused the problem.
How much do you think a Gremlin goes for? And who is he trying to sell a Gremlin to, actually? Not stupid idiots who won't feed it.
Yeah. I mean, famously, you shouldn't sell a pet to a kid. That's like a real rule I believe in.
Maybe that's the real message of this.
Never sell a pet to an underage child. Yeah. That's a good moral. Yeah. I put my stamp of approval on that one.
Maybe. Well, it's the same as like having a snake as a pet and then it gets loose and like bites someone.
Don't do that. Just don't do that. You're likely not equipped. So don't deal with that.
It also is. It is nice though, because like I feel like a lot of exotic pets you have to buy like such specific food for them. Yeah, the Gremlins seems like you can feed them whatever.
I think you can,
as long as it's not.
It's just got to be within certain hours.
Which is
they have a really intense metabolic body clock.
And that's why I think you should sell Gremlins to just older people who aren't up at midnight at all. Even.
Do you know the thing where people with Alzheimer's, they'll give them like fake realistic babies? I think if you put a bunch of Gremlins in like an Alzheimer's community, as long as you made sure they didn't feed them, that'd be really nice. Well, they could have some really sweet relationships.
They're all going to be in bed by 5 p.m., you know?
That's a good point. That's how the movie should end. Is in a society where the response wouldn't be violent. They should have rounded the Gremlins up, took them to various old folks' home, and made sure everyone followed the rules. And everyone could have had it could have just been all benefits. Win, win, win across the board.
Yeah. Yeah. No one's solution oriented, you know? Nothing's about the community at large.
I also don't know how in the real movie, I don't remember how it ends for real. Because I know that at least the kid's pet Gremlin ends up being he's kind of an ally the whole time because he loves the kid. So we're learning that Gremlins can form relationships with people and
but it's also
loyalties.
Weird that because technically all these Gremlins are his clone, but they don't have that loyalty at all.
Well, they just don't have that connection to the family. Nature versus nurture, though, you know, and I'm sure I feel guilty about it. I'm an oldest child. I think probably the first 2 years it was just me. I was getting some A1 treatment, you know. Right. I was getting really coddled and read to at night and all that.
And if there's just one and then suddenly there's 6.
The other 5 are going to be a little kicked to the curb.
And they're unionizing amongst themselves. You know?
They have their own community, so they don't need. But I do think throughout the movie, the one Gremlin stays sweet with the kid and the brother and kind of helps him out on pointers of how to handle the situation. But I do think people are shooting the Gremlins in the head, so I don't know how that gets resolved. And I'm is there sex in it? That's the last question. It's a hard PG.
Inter-Gremlin sex or inter-people sex?
I think if anything, it's older brother and girlfriend making out hot and heavy in a car, and then the Gremlin pops up and hee hee hee.
Good.
Yeah.
They're the sex police.
Yeah, they're the sex police. They're the virginity police in terms of upholding it. Yeah. So
they love virginity. They're
complex.
Only, yeah.
They're complex, at least in my formulation.
Maybe they just want to be a part of it, you know?
Because they're asexual. That is famously a thing Like the little girl in Interview with the Vampire, she can't have sex 'cause she's a creepy little girl.
And she hates horniness for that reason.
Yeah, that incel behavior.
Maybe, or they're just like, just lots of love to go around.
I think they're like that. I think they're upbeat. Because I do think while they're doing all their stuff, like terrorizing the town, they're all being like, ha, 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 like they're even really fun about it.
Right. And maybe like if the couple let the Gremlins join in on the fun.
I would never. No, you can't. You can't. You gotta kick them out. No, it's like one thing if like your dog's watching you have sex, and it's not a good thing. I'm anti that, but sometimes it happens. But if the Gremlins can talk, and they're bipedal, and they can like hold your hand, and it's like not appropriate. It's like your
toddler watching.
That's not appropriate. Yeah.
But a baby, maybe that's fine.
Warning. Now's the part of the episode where we at least kind of reveal what really happens. Spoilers ahead. Ding. Okay, a brief Google has showed me a lot about Gremlins that I did not know. I actually will say I think this plot is way better and tighter than either of ours.
Whoa.
Which hardly ever happens. But it did for this one. You know why? You know who produced this bad boy?
No, who did?
Steven M.F. Spielberg.
What?
Famously a guy we trust. I also did check, and so it appears the Gremlins do not speak in AAVE. I think I was projecting that after reading that article. And I also just Googled Gremlins racist. What Reddit said, which is famously a place where people sometimes are being racist. But what they said is it's subtly racist.
Okay.
I think you could like project that onto the film, but now I'm wondering if that article I read was a lot of, think pieces.
Think pieces love to be offended about things.
And then to counteract that it's actually not that racist, guess what the name of the guy is who wrote it?
What?
Chris Columbus.
The guy who wrote Harry Potter, the first
No,
two?
It's not.
He
really?
directed the first 2 Harry Potter movies.
Wow.
If it's the same Chris Columbus.
Why are we talking so much about freaking Christopher Columbus and not talking more about Chris Columbus?
Chris, come on the pod.
Come on the pod, Chris. We love Harry Potter here. And I do think we have to watch this. I have so many questions, and I do think it's going to be vibes. So that being said, about the confusion over the racism that I feel like I brought to the table today, I did find one article. Then this is the headline. Sexual anxiety? Racism? The Vietnam War? No one knows what Gremlins is a metaphor for.
It's up to us to decide
as the viewer.
In which way to be offended. Also, this article is on Cracked RIP.
RIP. It has a great picture of our main cutie Gremlin looking a little silly.
He does have like a patch of white fur on his face like a dog.
He's so cute. Speaking of, okay. I read the summary, my mind blown. Freaking blown.
Oh my god.
I was out here trying to go on like a anti-racist crusade. You're out here making it like maybe overly wholesome, and I think maybe they hit it in the middle.
Whoa.
Maybe they did, and then look, if I'm wrong, tell me. Email us at Happenstance with Joe and Sam. So first of all, to clear things up, they don't speak AAVE, and I know that because the main Gremlin named Gizmo is voiced by none other than Howie Mandel. So that would imply that actually the Gremlins are Jewish.
Let's let that sink in.
Let's think about what that means. I don't know what that means. And then originally, Gremlins are based on a legend of the British Royal Air Force, where that's what causes technological problems in like planes is a gremlin. So that's why they don't like tech. I was right on that one.
So they're supposing that there's an army of gremlins down there taking down their radar equipment.
Yes, they are.
That's cute.
That's so cute, isn't that?
So
that's heartwarming.
Cute.
And then that means the Gremlins are like anti-war.
And anti-Britain.
So what makes it even more complicated in terms of like what, if there's any racial narrative is that Gizmo, our main Gremlin, never turns into the worst kind of Gremlin, which they call a Mogwai. So they're trying to act like the Gremlin without a midnight snack and the Gremlin with a midnight snack are like 2 different species even.
Also, I feel like Gremlins are the only people who like, instead of getting hangry, get like angry when they're full. Yeah,
they do. Well, because I get that because sometimes I feel like I don't have enough energy to be mad. And then I eat a nice big meal and
suddenly,
I'm ready to fight.
It's like the Snickers campaign. You're not you when you're hungry.
When you're hungry.
But you is an angry monster.
An angry bitch. Yeah. That's true. Okay, so this Wikipedia article has all the damn answers.
Okay.
What actually happens in Gremlins is that a dad is buying a last minute Christmas gift.
See, the 80s loved punishing bad dads.
And being a bad dad is buying a last minute Christmas gift.
Yes.
And he goes to the Chinatown antique store, and that's where he encounters the old dude and the little gremlin.
It's so funny to try to buy your kid a present at a Chinese antique
No,
store.
this dad is flopping. The dad is clearly not killing it. So he goes and encounters the creature, which in the store is known as a mogwai, which is Cantonese for devil. So that raises only even more questions of why does this guy have it in his store? But he does, and he refuses to sell the dad the creature. Oh. But then the main store guy has a grandson who is like, we need to make this money.
Yeah, he's a
and
fucker,
he sneaks out after and is like, listen, dad, how much will you give me for it? And so they do a backstreet deal to give the white dad the gremlin.
He recognized the Christmas desperation in the dad's eyes.
Yeah, and he said he needs the devil.
Yeah,
we need to give him this little devil. And so he does tell the dad there's 3 rules. Don't expose it to sunlight. Don't let it come in contact with water. And never feed it after midnight. So we were both right.
But also, all of it sounds like just vampire rules.
Well, if they come into contact with sunlight, they do burn up and die, which is how I assume the movie gets resolved.
Right.
But vampires can't take a bath?
No, they can't cross bodies of water.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you're running from a vampire, just jump across the stream and you're fine.
How does Edward Cullen get to Italy?
Edward Cullen's not a real vampire.
Oh, okay.
He's just a fancy little sparkle
Don't
boy.
say that on my podcast. Do not say that on this podcast is half mine. That's inappropriate. We will not speak ill of Edward Cullen or Stephanie Meyer on this pod.
It's okay to be a fancy little sparkle boy. That's valid. That's
you
fine.
sound homophobic, even though that's one of the straightest movies of all time. Whatever. It is weird. You know who else is weird? He's not British. Edward Cullen.
Yeah.
That's weird. I'll say that.
He easily could have been. Like, he could have been English.
Maybe
and
should have
then
been.
Has lived here for 100 years. That's still fine.
He was American. I think
No,
one
he
of the
was
sisters
American.
was like that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other ones were all like Confederate soldiers.
Just one. Just Jackson.
Jasper.
Whatever.
Fake
Jackson's a better
Fake
Confederate
Twilight
soldier name.
man.
All right. Look, we're not here to fight. It's Christmas. We're
Yeah,
not here
you're
to talk about Twilight.
Christmas brings out tension.
It does. Okay, so anyway, the dad brings the little mogwai home and gives it to his older teen son. There's only one son. And he explains the rules, but then Billy's friend accidentally pours some water on Gizmo.
It's that quick?
That quick. Easy as.
And this kid, he cannot be around laptops.
No.
Imagine if he was around
No,
in
this
like, the
kid,
2000s.
whoever this little clumsy friend is, he doesn't even get a name in the summary. It's a mess. But he has a friend. That's good.
Yeah, that is
But anyway,
nice.
he spills water on Gizmo, the nice one, voiced by Howie Mandel. And then from Gizmo's back spawn 5 mogwai that are, I think they come out cute. No, they don't. They spawn, and they spawn as little cocoons that fall off of him. And then they come out of the cocoon as the dark gremlin.
Oh.
Not the cute gremlin. So how does that work?
I like that there's a whole set piece involved with the spawning of these. That's very Spielberg, actually.
Yeah. No, it sounds like there was work put into this movie. So the gremlins, the bad gremlins get out. They do attack his mom. So I feel like what I said has some credence there. And they kill a guy. I didn't read deep enough to, it's just some guy.
Just
you
some
know, whatever.
guy. Okay, whatever. Yeah.
So then the town is starting to get overrun with the mogwai. And meanwhile, Gremlin number 1, Gizmo, he is just not even involved.
Good
he
for him.
is wearing the white flag of purity the entire movie. Those just happen to be his kids, and they just happen to be acting up.
That's like the saintly mom of a school shooter, you know?
Yes, that's exactly what Howie Mandel as Gizmo the Gremlin is giving, it seems. So then here's the crazy part that neither of us could have predicted. While the kid and his girlfriend are hiding in someplace in town from the Gremlins, she's talking about she never liked Christmas anyway. Do you want to give a quick happenstance on why you think she might not like Christmas?
Her dad killed her mom on Christmas.
No. A couple years ago, her dad went missing on Christmas. He went out, they never saw him again. Then, several days later, he was found dead in their chimney, dressed as Santa Claus, because he wanted to try to surprise her. He was in the chimney for days.
What a stupid fuck. I'm sorry, that is so dumb.
But I guess, like, scientifically being dumb is what, like, the number one cause of deserving to die.
Darwin Award.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, the smell.
Just think about all. Well, good thing they live in a snowy type town.
That's true.
You'd
probably
assume
frozen like a popsicle.
nowadays you'd smell your dad up there.
That's the real problem with climate change. Is that
if
your
your
stuck
dad climbs in the chimney
he
and
would
dies,
start
you're gonna
to
smell
rot,
it. But you
and
need
you're
to find it
gonna-
earlier. But she has PTSD, and that's how she discovered the truth about Santa Claus not being real. That's how young she was. Is that her dad was dead dressed as Santa in the chimney.
Or she was inappropriately old to not know about Santa yet because her dad was pulling these kind of
You're just
stunts.
assuming they're a stupid family.
I'm just assuming the dad is going way overboard to
What do you think he did for Easter?
He like shoved some eggs up his ass and pretended
and popped
to
him
lay
out.
them. Yeah.
Maybe he's a performance artist type dad. But anyway, I just thought that was an insane detail that you or I, who could have imagined?
We're just not good enough writers.
Not like Chris Columbus.
Not like Chris
yeah,
Columbus.
let's give him credit. J.K. Rowling, who? It's about Chris Columbus.
It is.
While the Gremlins are already seizing the town, as soon as these ones pop off, our little Howie Mandel guy's back. And in a brief period, though, there's silence and the town's okay. And they're like, do we have a reprieve? And they're just watching Snow White at the movie theater. So they are doing stuff like breaking the movies, eating popcorn and laughing.
Why Snow White? Why not something more seasonally relevant?
I feel like they're supposed to, like, maybe they relate to the dwarves.
Oh.
Maybe they picked it because they were like, you can't be what you can't see. Like, that felt the closest to representation for them. Maybe that's
Wizard
why they
of
picked
Oz.
it. I don't know if that was playing. And at least Snow White, snow.
Okay.
You can make an argument.
Also, we did recently watch this Hallmark movie called A Snow White Christmas.
One of the worst things I've ever seen. Looked cheaper than porn, and yet had one of the most stunning performances by an older woman and a young gay actor I've ever seen in my life.
Their chemistry was
off the charts. They were being so evil, and all they did was get spa treatments in an empty house.
I'm jealous of them every day.
I am too. And the main girl was like lobotomized feeling.
That's why you have to be in Hallmark movies.
And to fall in love.
Yeah.
The Gremlins would have had a field day in a Snow White Christmas. That's what I'll say.
Every one of those Hallmark Christmas movies should have a gremlin outbreak in the middle.
In the middle of it. That's Sci-Fi Channel vibes. They should get into I don't know if they're doing that yet, but they should get into
Sharknado, that. But like
Gremlin-ado. Yeah. So after the Gremlins watch the Seven Dwarfs, they are doing like National Guard level problems. They set off a natural gas explosion.
Oh.
And that does do a lot of damage to town, but luckily it also kills like all the bad gremlins that have currently spawned.
That's so convenient.
That's convenient.
And
but
also it's stupid of them.
It doesn't kill the leader bad gremlin. And so now he has a cool burn and is like Rambo style.
He's like eye patch evil guy.
And he's even more evil. And then he breaks into the candy store and then a department store where he tries to use a fountain to spawn more gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
But then Gizmo, who's on the side of the people, opens a skylight at the mall and then kills the main bad gremlin.
Oh, just with the light.
With the light. So easy as. And then at the end, the guy who owns the Chinese antique store does get to make a speech on the local news where he criticizes Western society and shits on the white dad for his negligence.
That's Unabomber
so
style
I think
activism.
that's sick. I think that's actually good for him. The moral is that Western society has a careless nature.
It's also funny that they just like lightly interviewed him on the news. Like that was the repercussions.
I know, and no one's being like, "Why did you have this the whole time?"
Lethal weapon in your shop that is technically for
good,
sale.
Good though, I think.
Just love to see local news coverage of an incident like this.
And it seems like at the end, Mr. Wing, that's who owns the Chinese store, just takes Gizmo, the Howie Mandel gremlin, back and is like, "Billy, you're not responsible enough to have him right now, but maybe when you're older." So I assume that's what Gremlins 2 is about, is he takes another swing at it.
It should be like a background check kind of thing. Have you owned a gremlin before? How did you use this gremlin?
What happened to the gremlin?
What happened to, yeah.
You have to wait 2 weeks between applying for the gremlin and getting the gremlin.
Do you think the dad got his money back for the gremlin?
Hell no. I bet the dad had to like pay for half of the town's like explosion and destruction.
That also sucks being Billy, like in all this. Like everyone's being like, your freaking pet.
And his pet actually didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is kind of sad. But they don't like destroy the gremlin. It just gets to go back to the antique shop and get in its bed and,
Good.
There we go. We go. Good.
That's the life it deserves.
And then some fun facts are that Gremlins entered popular culture because of Ding 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 Roald Dahl.
Fuck yeah.
He wrote a book about him in 1943.
He wrote a book?
He did. He took it from the RAF and he wrote a book. Whoa. So maybe that's what the racism vibe's about, Mm-hmm. Maybe it's not even about Spielberg's movie. And then also, this movie is still a hard PG, that's true. But the first version was much darker than the original film. And the original movie included the Gremlins beheading Billy's mom and throwing her head down the stairs. But Steven said that's not acceptable.
I think Steven was right on that one.
I think Steven was right to like try to make it like a major cultural success, but I would like to see that.
I feel like that's probably more in line with Roald's vision too.
And then fun fact, they didn't include that, but they did include the monologue about her dad being dead in the chimney because the Chris Columbus said that's what the movie's really about. So yeah, that's it. I do feel like the strong racial metaphors I was creating, like, am I racist now because I imagine that? I'm worried.
Well, call it.
Let me know. Let me know. I'll change. I'll change. Do you have any thoughts after learning the truth?
It sounds pretty good.
I want to watch it.
I'm really curious to watch Gremlins 2, actually.
Oh, the new batch. That's what that one's called.
Okay. Well, because actually, I should have said this earlier, but shout out to my friend from improv class, Ellery. Mm-hmm. They suggested this and also said that Gremlins 2 is like absolutely batshit crazy. We could never guess what happens in that one.
Is it seasonal?
I don't know. I don't know anything about Gremlins 2.
Maybe we'll do that too.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that too, knowing what we know now. What do you think's gonna happen to Gremlins 2? Just a quick off the hip.
All right, it's Easter, and the Gremlins are laying eggs now, and that's their reproductive style.
Oh, cute! It's been commodified for Easter.
Yeah.
I think in mine, Billy's at college in Miami, and it's just more like Scarface for real.
Okay.
And they wear like a pink T-shirt and a pastel blazer and a chain.
And they're kidnapping people and torturing them.
On a boat, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool. Well. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Spend time with your family.
Watch the damn Harry Potters, you know?
Watch Harry Potters.
Watch Harry Potters.
Watch Gremlins.
We're gonna.
Between when we recorded that last part and now, we watched Gremlins.
And guess what?
It's
not racist at all.
At all.
One of maybe the least racist things I've ever seen. Okay, I feel like we were honestly closest about the Gremlins being about the dangers of being like a teen father. Because I felt like Gremlins was actually about being a parentified child.
Yeah. So the kid in this already has a dog and a part-time job at the bank.
At the bank, which I didn't even know teens could have.
And a girlfriend. He is busy. He does not need a gremlin.
Not at all. But
No.
who buys the gremlin for him?
But his loser inventor dad, who for some reason has like a film noir-esque like monologue at the beginning when he goes to the antique store.
And looks like Cam from Modern Family.
And then he has a monologue at the end, but for the rest of the movie, where is he? At an inventor convention.
He just bails. He buys Billy, the freaking gremlin, and he's just out. Basically, after we recorded the original part of Gremlins, I've been in my head all week being like, is it okay for me to happenstance racism? Because then I got proved wrong. And then I watched the movie and I was like, oh my God, I'm so wrong.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, I think Gremlins is a movie that's just about gremlins.
Yeah. They're just creatures.
That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And if they do have any sort of identity outside of that, they have the trappings of Irish culture, if any culture.
They're green. They're at the bar.
They're drinking Coors MF Light. They're just being rowdy at the pub.
They're like gambling.
Yeah, acting up.
I think Gremlins is racist against like the white people that racism happens against, like Irish people, Italians, and the Polish.
Sure.
Like that's
they're
Gremlin
just
culture.
white partying. Like Gremlins are almost frat.
And I also think this movie is actually sexist because the two female characters are the only useful people in the whole movie.
You think it's sexist to men?
It's sexist to men.
Okay, a hot take. I think it's actually woke in that way if it's like about white men are stupid or just men in general.
I think
guess.
men in general are stupid because there's one black character and he's the science
teacher. And he's also stupid.
He's one of the stupidest of all.
But he is the science teacher, which is like probably he has a better degree than like anyone else in the movie. I also think even if the Gremlins are some sort of other ethnicity or race, it honestly, the movie doesn't make them look bad. It makes the white guys of town look bad just because they're being violent to the Gremlins more than feels proportionally relevant.
Literally one of the first thing Billy does once there's more gremlins is like deliver them to his science teacher for experimentation.
What kind of attitude is that, Billy?
That was his first instinct.
And just a couple of them too, so he's like separating them from their brothers.
Yeah, you could see them becoming radicalized before
and as they should have been. He made him sleep in like a hard drawer while Gizmo, the like first one, got to sleep in the bed. There's at least favoritism at play.
Yeah.
For Billy.
But also, like, once the gremlins, like are turning bad and they're in these like cocoon like things.
Yes, they're in slimy wet cocoons.
Everyone just leaves them alone and like forgets about them, and then they hatch and they're like, where are they?
And their first response is to like stab them and stuff.
Yeah, the mom kills 3 gremlins.
Which if anyone is gangster in this movie, it is the white mom.
Who's also stupid.
But she's like the first one who has to deal with them all by herself.
And doesn't even get beheaded in this version.
No, doesn't even. Which is good for her.
Yeah.
And then the other girl in it is Billy's girlfriend. And it's like every time a man interacts with a gremlin, he's like dead on sight, basically. But she, as a teen who works at the Irish pub, is like serving them drinks, moving fast, getting them cigarettes out of the vending machine. Like, she's being an incredible bartender and waitress to
the gremlins.
The gremlins, who are like a football fan mob.
Which also, she didn't even know about them. The gremlins.
And she treated them as customers.
Yeah.
You know, she said, in this establishment, we will not deny anyone based on religion, race, creed, whether they have money, even. Yeah.
And also in that scene, the gremlins are like truly the wide range of American culture, like in how they are dressed and acting. Like they're a melting pot.
They're just partying.
They're a cultural melting pot. And I want to know where they got all their little clothes.
They're so cute. They're so small.
Yeah.
It's like they robbed the Build-A-Bear store first. Or what if they killed a bunch of babies? They killed a bunch of babies and toddlers.
Let's see that. That would be even more Irish racist.
I do think, if anything, calling back to that one article I found that was like, is it about racism? Nom? Being horny? I think maybe it's about being horny, just because like the dad gives it to his son and the son's like, what? But it's like, okay. But then every woman involved like can deal with it, and every man involved like can't deal with it, and they overwhelm him and like kill him.
It's about
to me, that's what male horniness seems like. Yeah. Yeah. Even though Billy's already a man in that he works at a bank.
Also, just shout out to the Asian antique store owner's grandson, who when you told me the plot, I assumed it was like at least 18 plus grandson.
No.
This is a child.
This is a hustler. He's also gangster, honestly, in that he's hustling.
Yeah.
He's on his grind. He saw this cam from Modern Family, dumbass, and he said, I got a deal for you. The antique store owner and the grandson are like slaying, and everyone else isn't.
And at the end, the antique store owner comes to their house and like kind of yells at them, but then is like, maybe one day you'll be ready for the gremlin. And
he also clarifies that the Furbies do not speak Chinese or English or AAVE. They just speak from the heart.
Yeah,
and if you have your ears open, if you listen, you can freaking hear them.
Understand what they have to say.
So they're beyond our like simple human language or divisions, basically. To be quite honest, I cut out a fair bit of me earlier in this episode trying to explain the way that Gremlins is Blasian racist. Like, I had a bunch of stuff saying the Gremlins were in a jazz club and like more about their kind of accessories, like hats and stuff. And to me, I was like, okay, that's not racist standalone. And I did invent that they speak in AAVE. That was only from my imagination. But I was like, oh my God, I totally invented Gremlin racism.
Yeah, and then you didn't want to look up the article because you didn't want to like
learn that it doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
And I pure form I invented Gremlin racism.
So then I decided to look up, is Gremlins racist? And every mention of it that I found just like linked back to this one scholarly article from the 1980s, so like just a couple years after the Gremlins
came out. I do, upon reflection, think that's what I got a hold of, because today while I was walking the dog, I had like a brain flash where I was like, I think Gremlins is racist because of my college gender studies teacher. My gender studies teacher in college, who was like emotional and sometimes slurred and had a shamrock tattoo on her wrist,
told you that Gremlins was racist.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I think her name is Patricia Turner, and she's still alive, is a
come on, Patricia, honestly, come on the pod.
Please. She is like an African American studies professor.
Okay.
And
she got the degree for calling stuff racist.
Yeah. She's also written like books about Obama and all of the stuff he suffered, the plight that Obama suffered via the media. So her take is that the Gremlins do represent like black street culture because first of all, they turn because they eat fried chicken, which is first of all not true.
I did have a false memory of that though.
Yeah.
But they literally just eat
like
rotisserie chicken made by the white mom.
Yeah. Which like Billy just gets them out of the fridge, which I think is a perfectly normal thing. Like that's what I would feed. I would either
feed the Gremlins rotisserie chicken or like a cereal.
I was gonna say cereal. cereal.
Those just feel like the natural moves.
I would feed them wheat bran.
Yes, something that helps with their bowel movements.
Yeah, you just have to give them something that you can serve up in a big tub of Tupperware.
And that they can dig into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, she took offense to that. And then she also said that they went to a jazz club or like there's a 70s jazz club type scene.
I think they were in a full like St. Patty's pub dive bar.
No, it
vibe.
looked like It's Always Sunny vibe.
Or like frat house basement.
Yeah.
They were just raging.
Yeah. And she said they wear like hats and sunglasses in that, I guess, black attire to her. But I didn't think that that's how they were coded at all. Like,
I didn't think it was either. No, like literally as we were watching this, I was just getting more and more worried that I was projecting racism also onto like guys wearing hats and sunglasses.
Yeah. Well,
but I was like, it's so not.
They were just dressed in like some of them were wearing fedoras and little coats and smoking cigars.
Were they dressing? Yes.
But also they were dressing differently. Like they all look different.
Yeah. And I do think the movie made a point of being like, you let them watch TV, and so they were just influenced by like media fashion like the rest of us. Yeah, but definitely not being overtly black.
No, they were just, honestly, they were lovers of cinema first and foremost.
Lovers of cinema, lovers of fun, lovers of drinking and staying up late.
That's all normal.
That's normal.
That's called being American.
That is American freaking culture. Yeah.
So I find myself disagreeing with Patricia.
Okay. I think I disagree with Patricia too, but now I feel bad because like before we recorded this, I was planning on coming on here and saying that the movie was so not racist that whoever wrote that initial article and was projecting that was racist, but now it's an African American studies professor and I just don't know what to say.
But no one seems to think it's racist now. Like they're all saying this one woman from the 1980s says it's racist, so
it was just about gremlins.
And sometimes that's
enough.
That's enough.
Maybe that's enough.
Maybe we don't need to unpack themes and oppression in every movie.
If we need to back anyone's oppression, it's that of the gremlins themselves as nothing more than themselves.
They didn't even do.
They were getting fucked up.
They didn't do any mischief yet, and the mom like shredded one in a blender.
And we like saw their suffering. I hated watching the close-ups of the gremlins' faces while they suffered. That made me be like, eek.
Yeah.
You know, you can kind of project the suffering of any community onto the gremlins, on the gremlins' suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I'm going to say, when Billy blows up the movie theater with all the gremlins in it, that felt like an act of terrorism.
Literally did. Also, like the Wikipedia article I read was like being part of the problem because it was like the gremlins blow themselves up.
No.
That sounds like some media propaganda type shit, does it not?
That was a false flag by Wikipedia.
That was a lie against the gremlin peoples. So that's fucked up too.
Yeah.
Basically, everyone is in on the oppression of gremlins from Wikipedia to like Billy, but it's not because they're Blasian, turns out.
No.
Not at all.
It's just because they're ugly little creatures, and that's fucked up.
Who used to be cute. Maybe it is about puberty.
Whoa.
Maybe it's just about you're cute and nice, and then you turn mean and ugly, and then everyone literally hates you and is trying to make you go to bed.
But even before they were ugly, they were still being scientifically tested upon.
Just like kids. Yeah. What do you think the presidential fitness test is, you know? And I feel like never, does it have to do with my insurance going in and out? Sure. But never more in my life than as a child was my blood being drawn. It's been years since that last happened. There's a lot to think about.
A lot to think about.
Yeah. Have a great end of 2023.
Sweet dreams.
Bye.
Bye.